Welcome to another meeting of the Lorain County Commissioners, broadcast exclusively on your Lorain County Community College education station. The Lorain County Commissioners cordially invite you to see the meetings live and in person every Thursday morning. The meetings are located in the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue in downtown Elyria.
Would you please stand to pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I know you could be home watching TV or whatever, but you're here, and I'm grateful for that. And I'd like to thank the Township trustees and the community for hosting the Commissioners' evening meeting. Your cooperation helps us in our effort to reach out to the residents and allows the residents' voice to be heard. People should get involved in public affairs because government is involved in every aspect of our daily lives. In gratitude for your hospitality and the use of the community facility, it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, to present a community certificate of appreciation. And if the Township trustees will please come up and accept it. Commissioners. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, this certificate of appreciation is hereby presented to Sheffield Township, an appreciation for their gracious hosting May 1st, really good. You could tell the first one makes me a bit nervous here. May 1st, 2003, Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you. And it's signed by all three commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Dacey. If you ever need to use our hall again, feel free.
Thank you.
Our hall is your hall.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
There are no appointments scheduled today under resolutions. Number 1, Job and Family Services bills.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Advances, repayments.
No transfers?
Oh, I'm sorry, transfers, yes.
Also moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Advances and repayments. I believe there were none, that's what I was going to say.
Thank you, Teresa.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye, with the exception of 708. I'm making exception to that because I've got opinions of this company that I've expressed in the past.
Travel expenses.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Bills.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within the jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
So moved.
Was that everything on the summary? Did that include the union contract?
There's 2 sheets.
I will second for the purpose of discussion.
Discussion?
Yes. You know, we talked about the union contract and the wages and trying to come to a place where we can reduce the cost of health insurance for our county employees. In the meantime, our human resource director went to the union and they had some discussion. They came back with a contract. And I have reviewed this contract, and I'm a little bit concerned because I thought what we were going to be discussing was the wages and the health care. But instead it appears that there have been a lot of conditions changed in the contract. And then I was given another contract early this morning, which I haven't had a chance to review yet. But the last draft that I had typos. And I believe that this contract goes beyond the scope of what I had expected. But I do want to honor my promises, but the terms and the conditions in the contract go beyond what I suspected would be discussed. I don't know how my colleagues feel.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I had expressed to my fellow commissioners in a written memo that I was concerned about the fact that there was no cap for health care contribution in this document, and I asked that we go back to the union and try to renegotiate that part of it. With respect to the wage and the other part, I supported what was presented to us, but I feel that we need to really look at that. Without a cap, I'm concerned what could ensue in the next several years, and we also have other contracts that will come forward. I believe it's important for the employer and the employee to continue to participate in risk sharing. The suggestion that I made was that we, in fact, adopt the cap that would have occurred with the deduction that was included in that, and beyond that, share as is presently in several of our contracts. So I would very much like to see that continue to be negotiated. That would be my comment.
Well, that's what I'm a little bit concerned about. I'm concerned with the county budget and the reductions that we're seeing from local government funds in different areas, and that's why I'm afraid that the contract may go beyond the scope of what I expected, and I'd like to find out, how we are with the budget before we agree with additional agreements in the contract. Because I thought we were just talking about wages, the percentage in the wages, and the health care. But like I said, it just goes way beyond that. So if my colleagues would agree, I would ask that this be held for at least another week or two.
There's a motion on the floor, Madam Chair, to approve the personnel action summary sheets, and these items are identified as 1 through 16. We could approve items 3 through 16 and hold 1 and 2, if that's your pleasure. 1 and 2 deal with the contract and the health care.
Did I move on it? You moved?
Yeah, I'm not changing. Made a promise.
Well, I would like to keep our promise, but I think the promise was on the wages and the health and care.
And,
the
Madam
health
Chair, I'm not sure
insurance.
who made promises. I certainly made no promise.
Well, I said from the very beginning that I would support funding more of the premiums for the employees, but I don't want to go beyond that. I want us to come some agreement here that we can live within our budget and still assist our employees. So I don't really think that you're going to be breaking your promise by reviewing this, taking a little bit more time and review it.
I've already reviewed it. I'm happy with it. It's a win for the taxpayers and a win for the county, a win for the employees. I see nothing wrong with the contract. So If you do, that's fine.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with the contract, but I want to see it,
Then I'm prepared to
us
vote
to
on
live
it.
within our budget.
I'm glad you're talking like that. That's nice to hear. But I'm happy with the way the contract has been approved, so.
Well, my
I'm
thoughts
not
are
withdrawing, withdrawing my motion, so if you're going to withdraw yours, that's fine.
this is the first contract, and we have several others to go through.
Yep. My
And this
decision
is
was
going
based
to
on all
set the
contracts.
example.
Right, and I agree. I think this is a great contract. My decision was based on everyone getting the same exact contract, and it's a huge win for the taxpayers and the employees. So, I don't,
Madam Chair, I agree with Commissioner Moore up to that point. However, again, I think it's very important that we have a health care cap, and the cap that I'm suggesting would be $776 with the terms of that. And our employees, it's very, very true that they had a very large increase that they had to absorb last December, I believe it was, when the new rate went into effect. And I was willing at that time to look at some sharing of that amount, and I'm still willing to look at it. But I think that our past history has been that we need to continue to include a cap in these contract negotiations in between 1992 and maybe 94 or 96 into the various contracts that have been negotiated on behalf of the county, and we have either 18 or 19 different bargaining units. We had negotiated a cap with a sharing of any cost over that cap, and we also allowed for the cap to increase by a certain amount each year. And to accept this contract with no cap whatsoever is not prudent in my mind.
Well, I would agree with that, but there are several other changes that increase what's going to come out of our budget, too, other than what's coming out for the additional premiums. Because you're giving additional time, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. There's just a lot of different changes that have been made in the contract.
Commissioner Vacy, are you going to withdraw your second?
I'm withdrawing my second.
Number 10?
Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve items number 3 through 12 on the second summary sheet that included hirings at Golden Acres, Job and Family Services items.
If the board would reconsider and hold this so that I can better review what I received this morning, I would appreciate it.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the second sheet. It has nothing on it.
I know what you're talking about, but I was going back to what we were discussing a second ago here.
Okay. I would also like to have some further discussion on it, as I explained last week, so I think that we need to take some type of action. I was just making a motion to approve this sheet, then we can go back and discuss what you want to do with the other.
Well, I think let's complete the one issue.
Okay, fine. I'll withdraw my motion then.
I did ask that we just hold this for at least a week.
With all due respect, I don't think holding it is sufficient. If we're not happy with it, we need to give some direction so that it can be moved forward in some fashion, I would think.
What direction would you suggest?
I think there needs to be further negotiation with the union.
Commissioners,
Can
if
we
you're going to talk
open
about
this?
terms and conditions of a contract that is subject to further negotiations, I would respectfully request that we go into executive session, which is permissible under the Sunshine Law, to talk about those terms and conditions, and we don't do so here in the public.
well, I don't think you need to even go any further. The motion was not seconded. It's dead. If you want to bring it up, then you bring it up on your own. That's how I see it. Maybe next week when we're in our next meeting, maybe you want to put it in an executive session next week and you can discuss it then. The motion was died for lack of a second. You move on, and I don't know what else you want to talk about.
Well, I did make a motion to
She
approve,
withdrew.
well, I did. I'll make it again if you'll entertain it.
I'll second that one. How's that?
That's for items 3 through 16 on the second page of the
How's that?
employee
I'll
personnel
second.
summary sheet.
Further discussion?
Not on that one.
Okay. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye. And I will move to hold the other portion of the summary sheet
1 and 2.
till next week.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Do you need a discussion on holding? I don't think we've
Oh,
ever
I'm
voted
sorry.
on holding.
Ms. Vacy?
No, I'm
Aye.
asking, are you voting on holding? Because we've never voted in the past on holding, have we?
Yes, we
Have
have.
we? Okay.
There's always discussion after a
Okay.
motion, so. Did you want discussion?
Nope.
Okay. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Nope.
Under Commissioners, number 10, issuing a notice to proceed letter to Smith Paving and Excavating Incorporated, Norwalk, Ohio, for the handicap curb ramps in Avon Lake project, and Majan Construction Company, Lorain, Ohio, for the Amherst Township Hall restroom renovation project, effective May 5, 2003. This contract was awarded by Resolution 03250, adopted April 3, 2003. Authorized county administrator to notify the county auditor to release retainage at the completion of the said project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
11, under the engineers, award contract to Kekosing Construction Company, Frederickstown, Ohio, in the amount of $212,339.30 for the resurfacing of a section of Quarry Road. There were 7 bids received, and Kekosing was the lowest and most responsive bid, complying with specifications with the engineer's estimate of $248,000. This project will be financed with OPWC grant covering 89% of the cost, and remaining 11% will be paid from MVGT funds. Issue a notice to proceed letter effective August 18, 2003, to be completed all work on or before September 30th. Authorize county administrator to notify county auditor to release retainage at the completion of the said project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Award bid to ACOL Incorporated, Sandusky, Ohio, in the amount of $448,787.80 for the replacement of Vermont Street Bridge 0486, LaGrange Township. 3 bids were received, and this bid was the lowest and most responsive, complying with specification, with the engineer's estimate being $450,000. $311,500 will be provided by OPWC, and $137,287.80 will be paid from bond fund and engineers' accounts. This award is contingent on OPWC approval of the request to proceed. Issue a notice to proceed letter effective June 9, 2002, to complete all work on or before November 28th, and authorize county administrator to notify county auditor to release retainage at the completion of said project.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Receive annual report prepared and submitted by the county engineer in accordance with Section 5543.20 of the ORC on the annual bridge inspections.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, number 14, amend Resolution number 03-111, adopted February 13, 2003, approving and enter into a dental service agreement with Dr. DiRenzo on behalf of Lorain County Sheriff, effective retroactive to October 1, 2002, terminating September 31, 2003. Said amendment is to reflect a 60-day termination notice provision, and that Dr. DiRenzo's option may continue working at the jail during the notice period rather than a 90-day termination.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
No reports or comments this evening, thank you.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor?
No report either.
Commissioners report?
I just have one thing. Ron handed me this, and it's alternative wastewater treatment. They're having a meeting in New Russia Township. Ron, I think you wanted to bring this to the attention of the public.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Ron Twining, Twining. I'm the Community Development Director for the Board of Commissioners. On Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, New Russia Township Hall, on May 14th, we are going to have a speaker come in as a part of the Environmental Strategic Plan, and this is Dr. Karen Mancl, and she is going to be talking about the history of alternative wastewater treatment facilities and some options that may be available to Lorain County that have worked in other places. And her study goes back as far as the Roman Empire. So she's spent a lot of time and work towards this end. She is a professor at Ohio State University and has her PhD in this particular field of study. So we would encourage everybody that is available to come to New Russia Township. The location is just north of the city of Oberlin. Again, it's 7 o'clock on Wednesday, May 14th. And if you have any questions, you can call our office. The number is 328-2332. Thank you.
And for those of you that would like copies of it, I believe you left some on the back table there. Thank you, Ron.
Mr. Moore, do you have anything?
Yes. I don't think it's a secret between the three of us. We've been, I was told that each one of us has been interviewed or discussed with Lorain County Transit. They told me they met with each and one of us. And then I got an email regarding they wanted to be on the May 15th agenda regarding communicating with us with a sales tax. My concern is their budget is what we've given them this year is $1.2 million. And they're going to be short next year. They're going to need 2.8 because they're losing all state and federal funds. So they're going to want another 1.8 million from us. And what I'm not hearing from the transit, and what I'd like to hear, and I'm sure you'll agree, is I'd like to see them present a budget to us on $1.2 million, in which we funded them this year, and what their routes would look like. At least before they come before this board to discuss any
You mean
taxes.
if they reduce the routes, what they would look like?
Well, I'd like to see a budget that says, hey, we gave them 1.2 million this year. I'd like to see what their projections for '04 if they were only to get 1.2 million next year. And before they come and talk to us, because if I'm going to make any decisions or if they're going to come and talk to us, I would like to see a worst case scenario for Lorain County Transit. When their funding is cut in 2004. We're talking, this is May 1st. The budgets, I think, John, you're sending out your memos for everyone to start working on their budgets for next year, correct? Okay, so they've been sent out. They've already told me they need 2.8 million, and I know I won't support giving 2.8 out of the general fund. I'll probably be consistent with the 1.2 that we did this year. I just wondered if you guys would like to assist or ask the county administrator to talk to the executive director and see if they can present with us a budget and what their runs would be on $1.2 million. I think it's not a lot to ask for, and it's basically saying, look, if next year, because I don't want to be talking in December when they're saying we need another $2 million to operate buses. I think it's fair that we should ask, since they're asking to come talk to us, then I think we should ask before you come talk to us. I would like to see their '04 budget and how they're going to operate on $1.2 million. I mean, that's just, I would like to at least instruct the county administrator to get that information for us before we even decide to have a public hearing regarding that. If that's appropriate, if you guys would agree.
I would agree.
I think it's an excellent suggestion. In addition to that, you know that we have talked about the Transportation Improvement District that is formed, and we have a tentative meeting date on May 17th. And yesterday, May 19th, I'm sorry. And yesterday, the Assistant Prosecutor, Jerry Ennis, forwarded some background information, which I will share with you, regarding things in the past dealing with a proposed sales tax. And just as a reminder, and I had kind of forgotten this because we haven't done this for a while, but if we are going to place an issue on the ballot, we also have to hold 2 public hearings. And there's specific code sections and stuff. So there's a lot of work to be done if, in fact, we're going to honor their request. And Just as a point of information, I believe a 0.25% sales tax now generates about $6 million.
That's correct.
And the figures that you just
Right.
spoke about don't total $6 million.
Exactly.
So I would think that's an excellent suggestion.
Okay, so we don't need a motion, I don't think, I think you understand what you need to do. Should we put time limits on this? They have a full-time
think
financial guy, could they get that?
Isn't there time limits on when we have to present, have the public hearings before we give it to the
Probably have
Board
to
of
have the public
Elections?
hearings later in July, early August. You have to place the issue to the Board of Elections 75 days before Election Day. So you still have some time to deal with this.
I mean, they have some time.
They have some time.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that's clear.
My understanding is you want to see a budget from the Transit Authority in a scenario where they didn't receive any other funding but what we gave them last year,
Which is what they're saying.
so that you can review their route issues and so forth. Does that include their fare box, or is that 1.2 with their fare box or in addition to their fare box?
That's just what we give them.
Just what we give them, because they'll have some money from
Yeah,
the
they
fare
might,
box
yeah.
also. So
And
they'll
what
probably
else?
have about 1.5, 1.6
Right, but that's we're talking about 1.2 million out of the general fund.
assistance from us.
Correct.
But I think they should also include what they would do with the additional tax.
No, I
Some-
think that's,
some-
I think they'll do that when they come before us. I want to see what happens before, I mean, instead of them coming for a public hearing, I ask that question, and they say, we don't know. I want them to have that information to us ahead of time.
What they would do with the 1.2.
If that's all they had, and there was, if they had no other source of revenue, no sales tax.
But if they feel that they need additional revenue to the tune of doubling this, and yet the sales tax is going to bring in $6 million because you can only go in quarters.
Yeah, the document they gave me showed they'd be able to spend it in 3 years. So their budget would be up to $6 million. So I would like to see a $1.2 million budget first before I invite them in, or before I would support them coming in to discuss it, because I want to see every option before we have a public hearing.
I would agree.
And just as food for thought down the road, if in fact we determine that a sales tax issue on the ballot is necessary, I would very, very much like to see a combined transportation tax of some sort, because I cannot see all of that money going to transit.
I
We have
agree.
other needs as well, and I think we ought to put together a complete package that addresses some of the outstanding issues in the county.
I agree. But one step at a time. Let's see what transit can do with 1.2. And,
I understand the directions.
okay. Thank you, Commissioners. That's all I had.
Okay.
Oh, and I'd like to thank the Sheffield Township trustees for having us here. Thanks, guys.
And I understand that you brought these up here, Elizabeth.
Or-
It's the shadow of Mr. Fisher.
Oh, there we go.
Well, thank you. It just adds an added touch to what we're starting here. Just a little neat little thing.
Have you talked to Bob, or recently? Oh, okay.
Thanks
Madam
again.
Chair,
Yes,
may
ma'am.
I just wanted to report to my fellow commissioners that last Friday I attended the Ohio Commission on Conflict Resolution and Dispute Management refresher course, so to speak. Commissioner Vasey, I know you've been there before. And Maggie Lewis, who is the Associate Director, presented a document to us entitled Mediating Land Use Plan Disputes, and it's a new publication by the Lincoln Land Institute, I believe. And so today I spoke to Rebecca Gray, who is the Administrative Coordinator for the Alliance, and she is going to contact Ms. Lewis and see if she can make a presentation to our next Alliance meeting, which is June 6th, and will be hosted in Avon City. Recently, Pittsfield Township and the city of Oberlin had a joint disagreement about the development of a piece of land and who would provide the sewer service to that land. And it passed through our board and went to NOACA, which is the five-county metropolitan planning organization for our area. And they weren't quite sure how to deal with that issue either, because it was a local issue. So I suggested that we contact Ms. Lewis, and she came in and she gave us an overview of what this agency might do for those two political subdivisions. And subsequently, they both agreed to go through this process, and a mediator was hired. And I understand from the most recent newsletter from Pittsfield Township that they have agreed to a portion of the agreement. They had an outstanding agreement that was over probably 12 years old. It preceded joint economic development districts because they weren't allowed at that time. I won't say they weren't allowed. They weren't authorized specifically in the Ohio Revised Code. But they had an agreement, a shared agreement, which still it was wonderful. And so I think they're also updating this agreement. So I think it's a valuable service that's provided to our county, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents for, sometimes we talked a little bit about building relationships and how people, a little bit about our heritage and how we always fight for what we think is right, and but how we need to open up and be a little bit more willing to listen to the other person, and in the end, maybe something good could come out of it for everybody. So that's my little spiel. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Old business. Approve and enter into various contract between Lorain County Board of Commissioners on behalf of Lorain County Children and Families Council for FY03 Wellness Block Grant Initiative for production and publication of media announcements in the amount not to exceed $40,522.50 effective May 5, 2002 through June 30, 2003. WEOL $18,705, WEDLW $7,272.50, WOBL and WJTB in the amounts of both $7,272.50.
So moved. Someone's telling you to second that, I think. Is deja vu all over again?
I'm thinking so.
No second?
Well,
Well, I just wanted to commend.
Juan and I talked a little bit earlier about TANF dollars. I'm sorry.
No.
Anyway, we were discussing this, and I'm thinking that the guidelines and the poverty level is something that we can adjust with the assistance of Mary Lou Golsky from Jobs and Family First. But I think if we can adjust those poverty levels, that we can get better use of this TANF money and bring it back to the public instead of the news media, or instead of sending it back to the state.
That's what I'm worried about, because I think in the past it used to be about 29% is all we were spending from the state, and now I think it's been up to over 70% now, isn't it? That we're spending these state dollars. You're not sending back as much as you used to, right?
Well, the wellness block grant is a separate program.
Right.
From the other TANF money.
Oh, the other TANF?
It falls
Okay.
in the TANF guidelines because of the source, but it's two different pools of money. We sent back over $200,000 last year of the wellness block grant, correct? This year, our goal is to send back nothing. But we're running out of time because the money, the contracts, everything have to be executed and it has to be expended by June 30th.
Well, I'm talking about next year. I think if we can increase the poverty level, we can reach more of the middle class.
Well, does this die for lack of a second then, because we're having a discussion? Or
Could Juan talk a little bit about this? Would that be okay, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I mean, we sent you on a mission. I think you need to...
Excuse me, but I don't think we can do anything with this for this year. But I just wanted to discuss the issue with the TANF dollars and adjusting the poverty level.
What's that got to do with the motion?
Well, it's discussion.
Is it
Do
part
I have
of the
to move
motion?
and have a second to discuss
There's
it?
only a motion, there's no second.
You can't change the poverty level, the commission, you can discuss it, but you don't have the authority.
No, we don't have it, but we do have some authority with the Jobs and Family Services so that we can discuss it with her and work together, because it is commissioners oversee it.
No, I agree, but this is...
I'll second this motion for discussion purposes.
Okay, thank you, but does that, I'm trying to figure out what, okay, I'll let Juan. Juan's up there. We'll let him.
Thank you, Juan.
Good evening, Commissioners. Juan Molina Crespo, Director of the Lorain County Children and Families Council, under the Board of Commissioners. I don't even know where to begin with this one,
Hey.
We're talking about
You
the
ran up there.
We want to spend this money. It's TANF money. I had come before the board 2 weeks ago with a plan in terms of the media production, and then went back and researched it a little bit further. And then we're coming before the commissioners this evening in the hopes that that the board would approve this plan now in terms of the announcements.
And I think it's well balanced the way it's marketed properly now. I think it hits a lot of segments. Don't you agree?
I do agree.
Okay.
I also, just to add, the award that we received this year, indeed, the services have to be completed by June 30th. So there is a little bit of a rush here to try to get this thing done. These are TANF dollars, Wellness Block Grant TANF dollars, and
But
we're
didn't you-
held under the
It was for like
constraints.
$53,000 though, right?
Originally, the media line item was $53,000.
Are we going to do the other 13, use it for the babies? Is that what you?
What we did was readjust the budget
Mm-hmm.
to include car seats as well
Oh, okay.
as diaper bags
Okay,
Those are for the baby dolls.
for the baby dolls.
right.
Not for live babies.
No, I know, but that's what you're doing. But we discussed 53,000, and you had an issue with it all going towards media. I think this is something, and I had an issue with
Yes.
the type of target marketing you were doing. So I think you've answered part of it. I'm just wondering so you just answered the second part, which is,
Yes.
okay, that's good. So when's that going to come before us? Next week, or did you don't need to have it?
No, I don't need a resolution on that, sir, because we have the budget that was approved.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. The revised budget, which was approved.
okay.
Okay, I'd still like to further the discussion a little bit beyond that and discuss the TANF dollars, since this is a part of TANF.
Okay.
Current TANF poverty level is established.
Yeah, turn it on, Jim. There you go. Just talk.
It's not working.
Just be loud. You're good at that.
Just be loud, okay?
Yeah, you're good at that.
300%, is that where we're at?
Well, with which TANF pot are you asking, Mr.
On
Cortez?
the TANF dollars under the wellness block grant, are we operating under 300% poverty?
We've increased that because of the purposes of trying to get the dollars into everyone's.
So we went to 500 on that, didn't we?
That's correct. We're at 500%.
And was that just for the dolls, or was that for the whole wellness block grant? Because we had the eligibility issue with the PRC application.
We had the eligibility issue with PRC applications, so it was specifically to get the dolls out into the community. The other materials that are listed in the budget are educational materials, which are available to everyone, because that's considered outreach and education, of course.
So so we're at 500% of poverty level for the TANF dollars under the wellness block grant, we're at 300% poverty level for the TANF dollars under Help Me Grow.
I believe we're at 200% there. But I didn't bring that file, Jim, so.
All right, I don't recall either. Are we having a problem capturing enough needy people under that?
We anticipate to draw down close to 100% of our TANF award this year.
And you're out of Part C monies now,
That's correct.
so you're using the GRF dollars to stretch those services to people already receiving under Part C, correct?
The Ohio Code prioritizes the early intervention services which are paid from Part C dollars. Therefore, when the Part C dollars are exhausted, like they are in Lorain County now, we're under an obligation to fund them with whatever we can, which in our case is the GRF dollars, correct?
GRF meaning general relief.
General revenue funds, ma'am. State general revenue funds, for the record.
Those are the good dollars because they're not restricted by poverty level or eligibility.
That's correct.
So those are dollars everybody really likes to spend. In fact, we had to go to a 1/12th allocation on those dollars because they were the first dollars exhausted usually in the beginning of the year.
But what about other services? Because it's always my opinion, the middle class just seems to get left out. So if there's some way that we can increase the poverty level to reach more of the middle class, I mean, we send people to college, we do a lot of different things with, and then the PRC money does a lot of things to help the public. But it just seems like there's a piece in there that's just a little bit missing.
Commissioner, I think there's enough time to enter into a discussion with Ms. Golsky regarding our Help Me Grow 04, fiscal year 04
Right.
TANF allocation to see about raising the eligibility for 04.
In some other areas.
Specifically for Help Me Grow, because those are the only TANF dollars that we will be receiving next year for Help Me Grow and for the council.
Have you started the dialogue? We were going to have dialogue with her on whether we're going to get wellness block grant.
Yes, we had that discussion, sir.
Was it positive?
The discussion has led to an additional agreement that we would meet again and talk some more.
Well, I would like for my colleagues, I would like to know if you would like to open discussion with Mary Lou on some of the TANF dollars, the PRC dollars, because they do purchase like refrigerator stoves, I believe even vehicles and insurance.
But we're talking about PRC dollars. Didn't I just hear you say that, help me out?
Recognizing the dollars that Juan spent is spent on.
The dollars that we receive specifically for Help Me Grow
It's TANF.
are, yes, ma'am. Well, the TANF dollars are specifically for child find services and those other types of services that we provide to the 0 to 3 population in Lorain County.
Right.
We cannot use our allocation for the items that you just mentioned.
I understand that.
It sounds like you've already opened dialogue and will be working with Mary Lou on some issues then, correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what kind of direction you're talking about, but it sounds like he's
Well,
already going
Why
there.
don't we have Mary Lou come in and talk about that?
I would like to,
Okay.
because I'd just like to open it up for some of the middle-class people. Just raise the poverty
I don't
levels.
have a
Would you like
problem
me to
with that.
set something up with Mary Lou to come and make a presentation?
Well, that's what I'm asking my colleagues. I brought it
I
up
don't
so
have a problem
that...
with that. She's a director, she can come in and talk to us.
We haven't seen her for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Juan.
And
Thank
just
you.
for the benefit of the audience, the TANF dollars you refer to is the code name for.
The temporary assistance to needy families.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you. Okay, that's all. I
There
have.
is a motion and there is a second on the floor. Any further discussion?
Now, would you call for the vote?
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Is there any additional old business from any of the board?
No, I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
New business, Mr. Twining had already mentioned this, the environmental strategic planning meeting at New Russia Township Hall. Is there any further new business?
None
I
here.
have none.
Board correspondence?
I move the reading be waived.
Second?
Discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Public comment?
Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? Have any questions, comments?
Harold Wilson, W-I-L-S-O-N, 43098 Bates Court. I would like to thank the commissioners for coming out into the community in the evenings so that people like myself that work during the day could attend these meetings. And also, I'd like to commend each and every one of you for adopting the building codes. That's a positive step for each and every resident of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Sir?
George Slaman, S-L-A-M-A-N, 5775 Hickory Trail, North Ridgeville. I have a suggestion in regards to the Lorain County Airport. I've been in aviation ever since 1954 as a general aviation pilot, and I think we have a marvelous airport here. And I understand that it's a financial burden for the county, but we are sadly in need of hangars for the smaller airplanes on that airport. Right now, there's probably about 30 airplanes that are parked outside, and you know how the weather is around here. In building hangars, you can expect to rent them for $200 a month, and they should pay for themselves over a short period of time. I'm just proposing this suggestion as a private citizen. I do have some background in aviation. I did involve myself in management at Bosworth Airport in Avon for quite a few years until that airport was made into a golf course, which it is now. And there is a big need for small airplanes, private airplanes. We had 40 airplanes at that little airport, and they came from all over because there was a need for them. I realize that some thinking is involved in big airplanes and big projects, but even a small project like this might be financed through a federal grant. We pay taxes on our gasoline, which goes to a fund which is supposed to be spent for airport improvements. And I offer a suggestion that this possibly could be pursued. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I looked into that, and right now the cost per hangar was somewhere around $30,000 per hangar to build. And that right now, because of that, that's a good idea. We're looking at some other people maybe to come in and develop that as private investors instead of the government doing it. So there is, appreciate the suggestion. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, once again, I would like to thank you on behalf of the board. It's been a pleasure to be here. I think we all felt a little nervous first meeting up here, but we had a beautiful turnout. Thank you very much.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Unsightly litter is often the result of well-intentioned people like you and me being careless at the curb, around business areas, and at work sites. Lucky the Ladybug, Ohio's first lady of litter prevention, says nobody wants to live or work around trash. Litter lowers property values and it's costly to clean up.
Keep Lorain County beautiful. Put the lid on trash.
I am very excited about this new space that we have here, courtesy of the Board of Commissioners for Lorain County. We are now located in our new office. Today has been our open house ribbon cutting.
Welcome everybody. The sun is shining on Lorain County today. 5 years ago, our priorities on economic development were in the basement. Hey, but this year, I'll let you do lower level. But this year, we have invested 10 times of that of 1997. This building represents the Lorain County Commissioners' commitment to improving the quality of life for all its citizens. And now our economic priorities are the envy of Northeast Ohio. Commissioner Vacy? Thank you.
I just want to thank you for the honor of your presence here today. And, you know, when I just took office, we had a 2-man department in economic development. Today we're up to 12 and a standalone building. And I think it's just wonderful. And I want you to know, too, the carpeting that you're going to walk on in there was provided by solid waste. It's, what, 40% recycled material? And when you walk on that, you'll know that someone recycled in Lorain County. And hopefully we'll get more people to do that. But thank you again for being here, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for coming this morning. About 10 years ago, as Commissioner Vacy said, although it was never a 2-person economic development department, when I got here it was a 1-person show, and we had a planning commission. And the idea was conceived that we ought to join those 2 departments together and form the Lorain County Community Development Department, which we did. And
And then we got Ron Twining, our Community Development Director, who's done a wonderful job, together with Jim Cortez, our County Administrator, and this wonderful staff that you see here. And we're doing great things for Lorain County. Thank you so much for coming this morning.
I'd like to thank everybody for showing up today. Especially we have some elected officials here from Amherst, our auditor, Diane Eswine, thank you for attending. Our state senator, Jeffrey Armbruster, thank you for attending. Elyria City Councilman, Paul Blevins, thank you for attending. And our Lorain County Sheriff, Sheriff Staman, thank you again for attending. And most of all, though, thank you all for attending here. Also, I'd like to thank is the people that worked on this project. What's interesting here is this building, we purchased it within a year. We had the architects was Joseph Ferret and Chase Keichel from Joseph Ferret and Associates, the architects. Steve Fox of S&M Fox Construction, restroom renovation, and ADA door opener. The Puffrey Roofing. Tom Murray and Amy Monak of Volvo's Office Plus and Office Space Design. Pat McCarthy, DuPont Flooring Systems, Carpet Installation. The Refrigeration Specialist, Inc. for the HVAC. And the Locks Garden Center for the plants. And the beauty of this is all this work, except for the recycled carpeting, but the labor was here, was all done with Lorain County people with Lorain County money. So that's fantastic. That's what this board's all about. And also who participated in putting this thing together, I'd like to thank Jim Cortez, our county administrator. I'd also like to thank Yvonne Newton, Pam Stevens, and Karen Davis. Also in our maintenance crew. These guys don't get recognized enough. Ralph Smagala and Dave Karpinski. And their whole crew of Herb, Rick, Gordon, Joe, Zenon, Don, Chad, James, Mike, Brian, Michael, and Thomas. They did a lot of work here to get the job done right. Also, these are other county people that helped us with Dan Billman and Marilyn Poliski, Ernie Smith, Karen Pleba, Nancy Bryant, Tim Costco, Joey Opdyke, Boyd Weber, B. Howard Reynolds, and Jennifer Dimmick. They did a lot of work to make this thing happen today. Oh, and Marcia Dunfunk from Bromhill Township Clerk is here, too. So thank you. I think it's time to cut the ribbon. Do we have our scissors?
Ready?
Are we all ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. There we go. We have lots of refreshments, videos. The people will be talking to you. Please come in and walk around and see what we have here.
This location is at 216 3rd Street. We moved from the county administration building, which is virtually across the street, so we're still close to them and the records that we need access to, and close for citizens to park in the county parking garage and walk across the street to get any help and assistance here. We house, in addition to the LAMP program, the Port Authority is located here, operating out of our office. We also have the revolving loan fund, tax abatement issues. All of these matters come to this building, and we welcome visitors at any point to come in. Our office hours Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we typically close at 4:30. A lot of citizen meetings are held. We have 2 outstanding conference rooms, one large one that will accommodate about 45 people, and then a smaller one that is a little friendlier, down to about 6 or 8 people that could be accommodated in there. We're real excited about the opportunity the Board of Commissioners have provided us through the gracious funding of the residents of Lorain County, and we look for great things to come in this new space.
Every year in Lorain County, hundreds of children are abused and neglected. Many are removed from their homes for their protection. Judges must decide their futures, but they need information to make these critical decisions. You can provide this information through Voices for Children. Volunteers are men and women from all walks of life with no special or legal background who work alongside attorneys, social workers, and other court employees. As an officer of the court, you find out as much as you can about the child. You will review records, interview parents and relatives, foster parents, talk to teachers, neighbors, and most importantly, the child. When the volunteer has a complete profile, he or she appears in court to recommend what is best for the child's future. You've heard the statistics on child abuse. Now is your chance to do something about it. You don't need any special qualifications, only the desire to protect local children who desperately need your help. To become a special advocate or for more information on our next training session, call Voices for Children today.
Welcome to another meeting of the Lorain County Commissioners, broadcast exclusively on your Lorain County Community College education station. The Lorain County Commissioners cordially invite you to see the meetings live and in person every Thursday morning. The meetings are located in the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue in downtown Elyria.
Would you please stand to pledge allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I know you could be home watching TV or whatever, but you're here, and I'm grateful for that. And I'd like to thank the Township trustees and the community for hosting the Commissioners' evening meeting. Your cooperation helps us in our effort to reach out to the residents and allows the residents' voice to be heard. People should get involved in public affairs because government is involved in every aspect of our daily lives. In gratitude for your hospitality and the use of the community facility, it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, to present a community certificate of appreciation. And if the Township trustees will please come up and accept it. Commissioners. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, this certificate of appreciation is hereby presented to Sheffield Township, an appreciation for their gracious hosting May 1st, really good. You could tell the first one makes me a bit nervous here. May 1st, 2003, Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you. And it's signed by all three commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Dixie. If you ever need to use our hall again, feel free.
Thank you.
Our hall is your hall.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
There are no appointments scheduled today under resolutions. Number 1, Job and Family Services bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Advances, repayments.
No transfers?
Oh, I'm sorry, transfers, yes.
Also moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Advances and repayments. I believe there were none, that's where I was going.
Thank you, Teresa.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye, with the exception of 708. I'm making exception to that because I've got opinions of this company that I've expressed in the past.
Travel expenses.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Bills.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within the jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
So moved.
Was that everything on the summary? Did that include the union contract?
There's 2 sheets.
I will second for the purpose of discussion.
Discussion?
Yes.